Melaḳim Aleph chapter 16. Then the word of Yahweh came to Jehu son of Hanani against Baasha, saying, Because I raised you up out of the dust, and made you ruler over my people Israel, but you walked in the way of Yarovam, and made my people Israel sin, to provoke me with their sins. See, I am going to sweep away Baasha and his house, and shall make your house like the house of Yarovam the son of Nevat. Anyone belonging to Baasha who dies in a city, the dogs eat, and anyone belonging to him who dies in a field, the birds of the heavens eat. And the rest of the acts of Baasha, what he did, and his might, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? So Baasha slept with his fathers, and was buried in Tirzah, and his son Elah reigned in his place. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came by the prophet Jehu son of Hanani against Baasha and his house, because of all the evil that he did in the eyes of Yahweh, in provoking him with the work of his hands, in being like the house of Yarovam, and because he struck them. In the 26th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Elah son of Baasha began to reign over Israel in Tirzah 2 years, and his servant Zimri, commander of half his chariots, conspired against him as he was in Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arza, who was over his house in Tirzah. Then Zimri came in and struck him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, and reigned in his place. And it came to be, when he began to reign, as soon as he was seated on his throne, that he struck all the household of Baasha. He did not leave him one male, neither of his relatives nor of his friends. So Zimri destroyed the entire house of Baasha according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke against Baasha by Jehu the prophet, for all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son, by which they had sinned and by which they had made Israel sin, in provoking Yahweh Elohim of Israel with their worthlessnesses. And the rest of the acts of Elah, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? In the 27th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Zimri reigned 7 years in Tirzah, and the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines. And the people who were encamped heard it, said, Zimri has conspired and also struck the sovereign. So all Israel set up Omri, the commander of the army, to reign over Israel that day in the camp. And Omri went up, and all Israel with him, from Gibbethon, and they besieged Tirzah. And it came to be, when Zimri saw that the city was captured, that he went into a high place of the sovereign's house, and burned the sovereign's house down upon himself with fire, and died, because of the sins which he had sinned in doing evil in the eyes of Yahweh, in walking in the way of Yarovam, and in his sin which he had committed to make Israel sin. And the rest of the acts of Zimri, and the conspiracy he made, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? Then the people of Israel were divided into 2 parts. Half of the people followed Tivni, son of Ginath, to make him reign, and half followed Omri. But the people who followed Omri were stronger than the people who followed Tivni, son of Ginath. And Tivni died, and Omri reigned. In the 31st year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Omri became sovereign over Israel, and reigned 12 years. He reigned 6 years in Tirzah. And he bought the hill of Shomeron from Shemer for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built, Shomeron, after the name of Shemer, owner of the hill. And Omri did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and did evil more than all those before him, and walked in all the ways of Yarovam son of Nevat, and in his sin, by which he made Israel sin, provoking Yahweh Elohim of Israel with their worthlessnesses. And the rest of the acts of Omri which he did, and the might that he attained, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? So Omri slept with his fathers, and was buried in Shomeron, and Achav his son reigned in his place. In the 38th year of Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, Achav son of Omri became sovereign over Israel, and Achav son of Omri reigned over Israel in Shomeron 22 years. And Achav son of Omri did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, more than all those before him. And it came to be, as though it had been a light matter for him to walk in the sins of Yarovam, son of Nevat, that he took as wife Isabel, the daughter of Ethbaal, sovereign of the Sidonians. And he went and served Baal, and bowed himself to it, and raised up a slaughter place for Baal in the house of Baal which he had built in Shomeron. And Achav made an Asherah, and Achav did more to provoke Yahweh Elohim of Israel than all the sovereigns of Israel before him. In his days Chiel of Beit-El built Jericho. He laid its foundation at the cost of Aviram his firstborn, and at the cost of his youngest son Seguv he set up its gates, according to the word of Yahweh, which he had spoken through Yehoshua son of Nun.